Well, hello everyone and welcome back. This is day 21, pattern number 21, if I have my days right. They're all blending together. And I think I have found a way to use all this variegated yarn that does not normally look very nice with crochet. It is definitely made with knitting in mind. And I tell myself every time when I go in and I'm looking at the yarn, you're not going to buy any, you're not going to get any, and I inevitably walk out because the colors just look so pretty together, and I just can't help myself. So, we are going to turn our variegated yarn into little stained glass granny squares. And my black is a mess here. It's falling out of both ends of the yarn. Anyhow, what you're going to need is your variegated yarn, or you could use a solid color. That's totally up to you. But I just found this to be a good use of the variegated yarn that I can't seem to control myself and not buy. So you need your variegated yarn in a black for the leading, or a very dark color that coordinates with your yarn. It doesn't necessarily have to be black to do the leading part. You're going to need scissors and some stitch markers, and the scraps of yarn are going to work great in this project because you're going to have so many stitch markers in it that they'll be in the way. You will need scissors, and you will need a crochet hook and a yarn needle. And we are going to get started. So this one, you are going to do the magic circle or magic ring, however you want to call it. And you're going to do 3 double crochets. So you chain up 1, you chain 3 for your first one. And then you're going to do 2 more double crochets. And let me tighten my circle a little, it's hard to hold. And then a triple crochet. The triple crochet is going to help us to have solid corners. So then 3 double crochets. Once you've done that 4 times, then you're going to slip stitch it to the top of your chain 3 from the beginning. And fasten off. Okay, so you want a tight circle, so you're going to pull on your string to close the gap and work that in. I mean, you can always go back later and do it, but we're going to do it now. And I'm not going to cut that yet, just in case I need to pull it tighter again. Okay, so you should look like this, a little square. Now you're going to switch over to your leading color. And you're going to start off, of course, with a slip knot. But you're going to find one of your triple crochets, which is your corner. That's a triple, double, 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 triple. Okay. And you are going to do a standing single to fasten on, and 2 more singles in that for the corner in that same stitch. Then you should have 3 single crochets in the next 3 stitches, or 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches. 2 and 3, and then 3 single crochets in the corner, all in the same stitch. And then 3 single crochets. And 3 in the corner. And you do that all the way around. 3 single crochets in the corner, 1 single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. Once you've worked your way back around, you will fasten off with a slip stitch to the first stitch at the beginning of the round. And cut your yarn. Okay, so you should look like this with all kinds of little ends flying off. And you're going back to your variegated or whatever you chose for your main color. And you're going to start in a corner in the center stitch of the corner in the back loop only. Okay, but you're going to do a double crochet. I'm going to do a standing double crochet instead of a chain 3. And you're going to put 5 double crochets in that corner stitch, back loop only. So that's 3, 4, and 5. Now you're going to double crochet in the back loop only of the next 5 stitches. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is the tough one where we fastened on. Oops, got to yarn over first. You had to try and make it look like it's back loop only. Got to get through the right spot. There we go. And then 5 double crochets in the corner, back loop only. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And 5 double crochets, 1 each in the next 5 stitches. And you're going to do that all the way around. You should have 5 going across your row and 5 in the corner stitch. Once you've made it back around to the beginning, you will fasten on or fasten off with a slip stitch into your first either chain 3 or standing double crochet. And you should look something like that. Okay, so this round is the round where your little stitch markers are going to come into play. And trust me, it's better to use little scrap yarns than the little plastic stitch markers. So you're going to start off in the corner, and you go through both loops when you're using the black. And do 3 single crochets in the corner. And then in the next 4 stitches, you're going to do a single crochet. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And in that second stitch, 1 and 2, just the front loop only, you're going to place your little yarn stitch marker. Okay, so we placed our stitch marker. And now we're going to do a long double crochet down into the front loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Front loop of the 3rd stitch. What I like to do is go through and then pull through 1, pull through 2, and pull through 2. I know you probably couldn't see that because of the black yarn, but you go like you're going to do a regular double crochet, and when you pull your yarn through the stitch, pull through 1 loop, and then yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. It just gives you a little more space, and you're not going to have that pulling that sometimes working over top can cause. Okay, so then we're going to have 4. You should have 4 single crochets before you reach that corner stitch. And the corner stitch gets 3. 1, 2, 3. And then you're going to come back in the 3rd stitch from your extended double, 1, 2, 3, in the front loop, you're going to place a stitch marker. You don't have to use the stitch markers. It just makes it a whole lot easier when you're working with the black. Okay, so then we have 4 singles. In that second one, front loop only, we're going to place the stitch marker. Our next stitch is the drop down extended double crochet into that front loop. Pull through 1, pull through 2, pull through 2. And then make sure you leave the stitch behind it empty, or you're going to start to grow where you don't want to grow. So then it's 4 singles. In that 3rd one, we're going to come back and place a stitch marker. And then the corner gets 3 stitches. So that's 1, 2, and 3. So 1, 2, 3, front loop only. Stitch marker. And you repeat that all the way around, and you'll have all your little flappy stitch markers when you get to the other side, and I'll show you what to do. So it's 4 singles, a drop down double, 4 singles, 3 in the corner, marking your second stitch in and your second stitch in on this side. Front loops only, but you're crocheting these into the back loops. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So when you get to the end of that round, you fasten off to your beginning single crochet stitch, And you should look really messy like this with all these little straggler stitch markers hanging around. And then we're going to go to round 5. Doesn't seem like round 5, but it's round 5. And we're going to do 5 double crochets in the corner, starting off mine with a standing double crochet. Find that corner stitch. It is so hard to see with the black. And of course we're in the back loop only. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then double crochet in the next 2. Actually, it's double crochet all the way across. We just got to work around our little flappy, what do you call it, stitch markers. So you're going to double crochet all the way around, back loop only, 5 double crochets in each corner. Okay, when you make it to the end of the round, you're going to fasten off into your first either standing double crochet or chain 3, whichever it is that you chose to do. And we're going back to the black. I'm going to get rid of some of these stitch markers and then add them back in. Start in a corner. This time you go through both loops and you do 3 single crochets. You're going to do 4 single crochets, 1 in each of the next 4 stitches. 3 and 4. And then we're going to do our drop down into that stitch that we had marked. Those are just kind of like reminders. That's why I was saying you don't necessarily have to have them. It just makes it easier for seeing like the black where it's supposed to go. So you do that, and then you're going to single crochet in the next 5 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then we have another drop down. So I pull it through 1, pull through 2, pull through 2. Make sure that stitch stays empty behind it. And then 4 single crochets and 4. Then we're back at a corner where you do 3 singles. It's 1, 2, and 3. So now you want to mark this row, if you're using the stitch markers, from the start of the row after your corner. It's 1, 2, so the second stitch in, place a stitch marker. Oops. the third one, which would be straight up from this, you're going to place a stitch marker. And then the second one from the end, you're going to place a stitch marker. So this round you should end up with 3 on each side. Okay, so I did my corner, and I'm going to do 4 single crochets, 1 in each of the next 4 stitches. One, 2, 3, 4. Then the drop down. This is a mosaic crochet technique there. Skip the one in the back. And you should have 5 singles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to drop down. And you should have 4 stitches, skipping the one behind there. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then you're at a corner where you get 3 single crochets in the same space. And we want to mark our edges. So again, from the corner, 2 stitches in, front loop only. We're going to mark our stitch. In the middle, straight up from this one, we're going to mark our stitch. And then the second one from the end, from the corner, so 1, 2, we're going to mark our stitch. And that's what you're going to do all the way around. So I will meet you back when I get mine finished. Okay, so you guys are smart cookies. I think you're picking up this pattern. I don't think we need to go over another 2 rounds. We can do a quick recap if you wish, but you can't answer me. So basically, on every round, after you do your corner, you're going to come in and mark the second stitch when you're doing your main color. And then from the previous row, that's black row, that second stitch is your 4th stitch of this one, because each time you go around, the rows grow. So you drop down, and in the front loop, you make that the letting line. So, and it's going to grow, each row is going to grow the same way. 2 stitches, 5 stitches, 5 stitches. So it's all going to grow the same way all the way around. 3 in the corners on the singles, 5 in the corners on the doubles. But I mean, I could keep going if you want, but I really don't see the need to, because it's a pretty simple pattern repeat. It just grows as you go around. You know, we had 1 here, 2 here, 3 on here, so it just keeps growing as you go around. Anywho, that's what I have for you today, pattern 21, day 20. And if you would like to see another great tutorial, whether it's granny squares or something else, if you click on this box right over here in the corner, you will find one there. Thanks so much.